So, I want to talk about the Liberty Health Special Land Use Program. It has nothing to do with my ownership of that property prior to now. We've been out of there a long time, so that's not the issue. So, they've been running under a state authorization where this township had nothing, really, not much to do with that facility. Now, if we're going to take control of that with a special land use permit, we got a lot of work to do. We would need, I think, and I would suggest that we have some type of a inspection period, unannounced, where we go in to make sure that this entity would be handling the process of the special land use permit that we give them. I don't think we should give it to them. I think the way it is, with the limited numbers of residents, and I haven't been inspecting the place. Occasionally I drive by. There's a lot of vehicles in there. I don't know about fencing. I haven't researched the land use permit. But we really need to do a lot of inspection there. And if we're going to take this on, we have to commit to do it. So the only way to do that is to have a plan. I don't think there is any kind of a plan that's been proposed from the Planning Commission or the board. So I think we should be prepared to have a plan if you're going to approve this. I don't think it should be approved, because I think there's many residents that really don't want it, but where are they? Now, that's usually the case with a lot of these things. They don't always show up. But it's going to be under us to deal with it. But we better have a really unique and creative and committed plan to do this kind of inspection to make sure that they follow the land use permit if we grant it. I don't think we should grant it. I think these facilities should be in somewhere that's not residential. There's plenty of places where these can go. So I don't think we should have it. So be prepared. I'm suggesting that we do not approve this land use permit and get back into the discussions about it. Again, thank you folks. Really appreciate your service.
Thanks, Tom. Anyone else? Jeanette?
Jeanette Lopetta, resident of Tyrone Township. Couple things with items that are on the agenda. The Liberty House agenda item number 1. There's really no reason to approve this tonight because if any of you have watched the Planning Commission meetings, and Kurt Schultz knows, we've had many questions that have been unanswered. In fact, we asked if the Planning Commission, if anyone had gone out to see the fencing. And of course, we get the blank look and nobody will answer us. But as far as we know, nobody has looked because nobody would approve that. So that's one thing. And in answer to the previous person that spoke, there is no plan. There is no plan to monitor this, and there never is. In fact, the Planning Commission has told us over and over again, even when it comes to like the medical marijuana issue, while we don't police that, you're going to have to police it. That's what the Planning Commission has told us. We don't have the manpower to do it. So there is no plan. Everybody should know there is no plan to enforce stuff that happens there. The fencing, I mean, really, that issue alone should be a big red flag to you guys. Why push it tonight? Obviously, the people have spoken, and they don't like what you guys have been doing, don't like what the Planning Commission has been doing, and so let the new administration take a look at this. Another item on the agenda tonight is the Renewable Energy Overlay District map. I sent the board an email a month ago, and not one of you had the courtesy to even acknowledge that I sent the email or acknowledge any of the questions that I have. And I know why, because most of you don't even understand the issue. That's why. You have no idea what's going on. And so I sent you this email, asked you questions, asked you if you could address the concerns. What's funny Funny again, Mike? You're gonna go out laughing at people that are speaking.
Did I laugh at you?
We are now.
Can I be happy?
Oh, yeah, we're all happy, just
I'm
so
happy.
we're all happy.
I'm just a happy person.
Good, good, we're real happy you're happy.
Good. I'm glad that you are.
Yeah, and
Thank
you know
you.
what, just stop it. It's just horrible how you treat people who come up here.
You know what? Why don't you just say what you want to say and leave me out of it?
Well, no, if I wanna say what I wanna say, it's not gonna leave you out of it.
Say what you want to say.
What, so you can kick me out here, or have the sheriff come or something? Is that
Well,
what
the
you
sheriff's
want?
already here, but
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh,
what
but have him call him up here.
do you want him up here for?
What do you want him up here for?
I didn't.
Thank you.
Oh, time's up.
I want my minutes back for interrupting me.
What? I didn't interrupt
Yeah,
you.
you did interrupt me.
No,
Yeah, you did.
you came after me. Sit down.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Any other questions? Anybody want?
Anyone else? All right. Yeah. Well, Don, you've already had your time, so
Oh,
thank you. All right. Being there's no more, we'll move on. Item number 1, Liberty House Special Land Use Permit. Kurt?
Okay, I've been provided with the statement of use clarification that we asked Dr. Abed to produce for us. There were a number of issues out there that she needed to clarify, one being the security, two being the process for the hours of operation, how people can access the place. And one of the concerns that was brought up was the possibility of a land division, and if so, would there be any chance of the other buildings on there being used to house patients? And Dr. Abed volunteered to put a deed restriction on any of the parcels that are made up to not have any other types of patients or processes that go on in those areas. As far as the Planning Commission's requirements are concerned, she has met all of our requirements. They put a new septic field in, and that was a big concern. They appointed a head of security. So in essence, she meets the requirements of what we had asked on the statement of clarification for the special land use permit.
what about the fence?
Dr. Abed, did you have anything that you wanted to add to talk to the board, or anything you wanted to say?
Yes, I know that there are concerns about the security and things like that. And everything that I can do in order to ease their mind, I have. They asked for the fence, and we are almost like 2/3 of the fence has been done. They're asked, I actually went above and beyond, where I added cameras, I added people for security that is on the property for 24 hours. I added lighting, so we can see. So the septic tank that they were talking about, actually it's in the process right now. They are digging in the back, and they are doing the septic tank according to what the county wanted from us. So when it comes to the security, there is nothing for them really to worry about. $250,000 later from the time that I came here in order to get this special land use. And I still feel that no matter what I do, I don't think that I'm gonna be making people happy, because the stigma that is associated with what I am doing, it's actually what I see in this room. And I just wanted to let you know that I have the back of every single one of my clients. I have the back of every single staff of mine. everybody in order to stay classy, because that's what we are all about. They represent liberty, and that we are a class people, and no matter what happens, we're just gonna go ahead and behave with the class. We tolerated all that, and I don't know what else I can do. The place that we are running, I know that it is a luxury, classy place. It is not something that people that they come from prison, that they are, we vet everybody that comes in. Not everybody that calls is accepted. Not everybody that say, we guide them to the places where they need to be. If they are mental, we send them to mental hospitals. We are not mental. We are subacute facility. What we do detox on our patients. If we feel that they are mental, they are sent to mental hospitals. And then we do residential. So they are in there for 4 weeks just to try to heal in a home that is full of love. That's what we are all about. A home that is full of love, so we can take care of our patients, your loved ones, our loved ones, to be able to heal, to go back to a community, that the community can be a healthy community. That's what I'm contributing to. I'm taking people so they can get their life back. I'm taking the people, and I'm taking the people that they can be a threat to the community, and I'm making them being healthy so our community can be healthy. But I'm viewed in a picture that I really don't know what else to say and what else to do.
Does anybody have any questions for Dr. Abed? All right, thank you. Their engineer here is Brent Levanaway from Boss Engineering. In regards to upgrades to the septic field, is there any concerns about what they're doing and the capacity and the load that's going to be put on there?
So we worked with the Livingston County Health Department and evaluated the existing system, and the determination was to build a new system, which is, as Dr. Evans said, is under process right now. We prepared the plans, submitted them to the health department, they were approved, and the contractor's actually on the site.
Thanks. Any other questions?
I guess this is probably more for Kurt than anybody else. The requirements on the Carlisle-Wortman report, page 13 of their report, those were all satisfied in the subsequent rounds of, okay.
So it's my understanding that this is permitted by the state of law, and they can have 6 in a residential, they can have 6 patients in a residential, and it is not regulated by the township at all, so she's allowed to do that. The special land use permit comes in to play because she wants more, she wants up to 12, which gives us the right to regulate it, am I correct?
Yes, we currently permit up to 6. The
Without
state
the special.
would allow up to
15.
12.
Well, 15, but you're only asking for 12?
Yeah.
Right?
The state allows 16 actually.
Oh, 16,
I'm only
okay.
asking for 12.
Okay,
So her request is for 12.
okay.
I have some concerns about the deed restrictions and how the planning commission said that they wanted something in return, which has
Do
some
that.
legal issues. And Chuck, could you lighten us on that and, how that process works? I mean, we blatantly said, we want something for this, and is that legal? Can we do that? And are we stepping out of our lane by trying to put deed restrictions and making them put deed restrictions per their demand and not their offer?
This is not a conditional rezone.
Right.
With a conditional rezone, an applicant can walk with things and have the rezoning take place. This is merely a special land use permit application. The township has an ordinance. It provides for a special land use permit for this type of operation. If this operation meets all of the standards and criteria under the standard or under the special land use permit provisions, then for the township to deny would be considered arbitrary and capricious. For the township to demand things outside of what the special land use permit provisions require then that would be inviting litigation. And with litigation, it invites the potential for liability imposed by a court, in addition to a court ordering that the township grant a special land use permit, perhaps without the safeguards that the township can lawfully provide. So I understand that there is a condition that the township impose deed restrictions on surrounding properties other than this property. That would be inviting litigation. It's not a rezone, conditional rezone. Township can't require it.
Right. That's correct.
Thanks, Chuck.
I would make one clarification on that. I believe the offer came from Dr. Abid.
No,
No.
I was forced in at the last meeting. I was told that there is a proposal, which is the committee, they told me that, can we have you do a deed restriction? And there was a conversation, was back and forth, and I didn't even know what to do. And then after what I said, that is fine, then I consulted with my attorney, and my attorney said that if I do that, I came to the township, and I told them, I said, you know what, I'm comfortable with doing this.
My struggle, I guess, under that circumstance is what would the township, or excuse me, what would the planning commission's recommendation have been as far as the merits of the application are concerned, but for that concession?
Well, I guess the case is, we can't require something that's necessarily illegal. So I don't think, subject to what the planning commission approved, was never provided to Chuck for his concerns or anything else, so.
And she meets the conditions of the special land use, we can't deny it. We
Basically.
could, but it'd be opening us up to
It's,
litigation.
yeah, you'd be opening the door for litigation.
So I don't think it would have changed the trajectory of the decision as
No.
it sits today.
I don't think so either. I mean, she's done everything that the planning board has asked.
You know, and I think what she's doing is great, you know, I've been involved in recovery and dealing with people, I don't know, for about the last 10 years, and just the stories that come out of it, it's remarkable, and thank you for doing what you're doing. These people are going there voluntarily, and they're wanting to get better. And I'll tell you what, I've lived next to people that are methamphetamine addicts. I've lived next to people that were alcoholics. I would much rather live next to Dr. Abed's establishment or a recovery center than an outlet. Excuse me, I'm talking.
Yeah, right.
Shut up.
Oh,
Yeah, I said it, shut up.
This is last
tell me too. Why don't you, tell me.
Guys, enough.
Unreal.
That's all I think. Go ahead.
Thank you, Scott. So, you know, I don't see any problems with this. I think we should go ahead and approve it. So I'll make the motion to go ahead and approve the special land use for the Liberty House.
She's not even finished doing what she's supposed to
Support.
do.
So one question first. If this vote is to proceed, is there anything that would need to be done to make sure that it includes
Yeah, so
any
we'll
contingencies?
go out and do an inspection and make sure that everything that is required to issue the land use permit will be done.
This is just an approval for the special land use permit. If any time she provokes any part of that, or is not in regulations, then we pull it back.
The remedy would be to pull the permit?
Yes, yes.
Dr. Abed, how many times a year are you,
Just turn around.
does somebody come out and go through?
Hey,
Turn around.
He's like being aggressive.
Somebody over here.
could you please be
How many
quiet?
times a year are you inspected by someone?
The state we are inspected by the state on a regular basis.
Okay.
I understand the residents' concern that they don't like it in residential area, but the law is the law, and it permits it in residential area. Like Chuck said, if we don't approve it, then we're opening ourselves up to litigation. It's permitted by law. I don't personally have a problem with it. I think it's a great thing. I mean, we need these facilities. You know, some people, I don't want this in my backyard, don't want that mine. It has to go somewhere, and she's doing a great thing for the community. And I have talked to patients that have been in that facility, and they have had nothing but praise for that, for her and her staff. And I have no objections.
All right. Any other comments? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed?
No.
Kurt.
Kurt. So that's 5-0. Motion carries. Thank you, Dr. Ben.
Thank you.
Next is the Renewable Energy Overlay District map. Kurt, you want to talk about that? And then we'll let Laura talk about it as well. Or actually, Laura, do you want to talk about it? Let's just start with Laura.
Yeah, that'll save me
Yeah.
going through that.
Can everybody hear me okay without the microphone? All right. Laura Jenovich from Foster Swift. We're special legal counsel on the work on the renewable energy ordinances. So for a little bit of background, obviously the Planning Commission worked on these wind, solar, and battery energy storage amendments for quite a long time. I think going back even to around the time PA 233 was adopted. PA 233 is a state law that was adopted last November, takes effect at the end of this month, that requires, how can I say it simply, requires communities to have a compatible renewable energy ordinance that meets certain requirements for things like height, setback, noise, fencing, and lighting for these utility scale renewable energy projects. And if a community does not have this compatible renewable energy ordinance, or CREO, then a renewable energy developer for a utility scale project can skip the township altogether and go instead to the Michigan Public Service Commission for approval of their project without having to follow any local requirements. So part of our effort at the Planning Commission was developing these ordinances and also including language to ensure that they were considered CREOs under PA 233. I promise I'm getting to the map, but I'm giving a big picture overview first. So the ordinance, which you'll see are in the packet online and are part of the text amendment part of this, include a lot of substantive regulations for these projects. And then at the end of each ordinance, you'll see something that refers to projects under PA 233. That's where you find that CREO language that says, for projects that are subject to the statute, we have to have, 55 dBA noise limit. We can't have anything lower. We have to allow certain heights we can't have it lower because the state has dictated that. But for things that are not covered by PA 233, things like insurance, decommissioning bonds, application requirements, and location, PA 233 is silent as to those and leaves them to local control. The twist on that is that in October of this year, October 10th, the Public Service Commission issued a very lengthy order, more than 100 pages, that it said was just application instructions and procedures. In fact, it goes far beyond that. It interprets or purports to interpret PA 233, which if you remember high school civics, the executive branch does not get to interpret the law. That doesn't get to make the law or interpret the law. It's just supposed to administer or enforce the law. But the Public Service Commission came out with this order that said, actually, townships, to have a CREO, you can only regulate those things like height, noise, fencing, lighting. You can't regulate anything else. You can't decide where they are located. You can't have insurance requirements. You can't have other protections. Our law firm has filed an appeal of that order to the Court of Appeals on behalf of 79 municipalities in Michigan, including Tyrone Township, and we appreciate the board supporting that effort. So, as of right now, if, until that appeal is decided, and we don't know how the Public Service Commission is going to respond to that, if they're going to pause cause or delay their processing, it's a little too soon to tell. The appeal was just filed on the 8th. But as of right now, the township would have no say, according to the Public Service Commission, in where they're located at all, making the overlay sort of an academic exercise. But we do have the appeal, and we still recommend that we talk about the overlay tonight. So with that little context, before we talk about the text amendment, I'll talk about the overlay. The overlay that is in your packet is shown kind of with the crosshatch and lines of where,
It's right
and I
there.
think it's page 97 of the packet.
It's in front of the,
In the front of the,
your
read
business.
before the business.
It identifies a couple of areas that would be part of this renewable energy overlay area, one of which, well, both of which are along 23. Right after.
Sorry, I don't have it.
Oh,
I don't
I'm
have
on
it
your
in my-
website, it's on here. I think there was a,
It's on the
website.
It's on the
Yeah, it's
website.
in front of,
It's on the
Well,
website.
if anyone wants to look at
Hey,
it,
can I
it's
plug
on the
this?
We need to
website.
see it, though. Bring it up on the website.
It's on the website version. Oh,
The packet was revised, but it wasn't revised with the map.
Yeah, I have on the website.
you look at,
Yeah.
trying to plug this into
Yeah.
HDMI.
There's other reasons it was revised.
Okay.
Oh, hang on a second.
yeah, see, they said, they don't know that that's a defendable.
There we go,
Lori,
thanks.
There you go.
Are you gonna be going over the county's recommendations? Good.
Yeah. All right, so I think scroll up a bit maybe.
Which direction?
There we go, yep. See the red lines there?
Yeah.
Yep, so that's one of the overlay.
Can we go up a little bit?
There's
Yes.
two, yeah.
There's
So, well,
two.
there you go, you've got two of them there. So there's two areas there that would be designated for these renewable energy facilities. Defer to staff, it's somewhere around 180 acres, I can't remember what.
160.
160? Okay, thank you, appreciate it. Around there. So, and I will say, and those are all open meetings, and I think the Planning Commission was concerned about the impact of these land uses and, trying to kind of contain the area where those were located to the best extent we can. And what we've always said, I'm not telling any secrets, I talk about this all over the place, if you take PA 233 out of it, exclusionary zoning, people will throw out the words exclusionary zoning. And sometimes people will say that to me, and if you don't allow me to have it where I want it, then it's exclusionary zoning. That is not what exclusionary zoning means. Exclusionary zoning is where your land use regulations have the effect of totally prohibiting a land use where there is a demonstrated need for that land use in the township or the surrounding area. So I haven't ever had to go to court on a case where somebody said it's so small that it's exclusionary, but if that case were to come up, the response would be, what is the demonstrated need for that land use in the township? Which can get into, if we're talking about wind and solar, how much energy are you generating versus how much energy does this community need? Despite that, that's kind of the argument we would have to make if we ever got to that place. The Livingston County Planning Commission has the right by statute to review these proposed amendments. And it sent a letter, which is included in the packet that is online, expressing concern about the size of the overlay district. And the concern is that if it's not big enough to have a facility, then we do have PA 233, and is a court more likely to say, well, PA 233 is allowing these, you've got to at least have an overlay district that's big enough to support one. There's no magical number for what that is. The law doesn't say you must have 350 acres. It's not that easy. Depends somewhat on land composition. It depends on how the project is planned. It depends on the technology that's used. But we're seeing across the state for a rough low-end figure, I mean, you could make your whole township, but presuming you don't want to do that. On the low end, I think what we typically see is a minimum of more like 300 acres. Again, that's not a rule, that's not a magic number. If you put me on, up in court and say that's not a rule, it's not a magic number, but that is what we typically see on the lower end. So if the township board, given that this is a recommendation from the Planning Commission, wanted to have a different or larger overlay, I think you have a couple options tonight. One is if you're okay with these being the overlay, but you want more land to be in it, then I think you can approve what's proposed tonight, and then ask the planning commission to recommend additional areas that could be considered in the overlay. The other option is to just approve the text amendment, if you're thinking, we want a bigger overlay and maybe not these properties in it, is just to send kind of the whole overlay map to the planning commission for further consideration. How does that impact the fact that PA 233 takes effect at the end of the month? Probably not that much for a couple of reasons. One, we've got the appeal. I mean, right now, again, if you ask the MPSC, they would say, we don't care about your overlay map anyway. We will tell you where you can put them. Even, say, if once, we prevail, there is some time built into the PA 233 process. So it's not like somebody can come get approval on the first day the law takes effect. There's a 30-day window where they request your ordinance, so we'll have a little bit of time to play with there, for lack of a better way of putting it. So kind of to sum up, I think the first threshold question is, does the board want to entertain a larger overlay area? And then if so, do you like what you have now, that you could approve that now and just see if the planning commission can recommend other areas, or do you want to send the whole overlay map back to the planning commission? In which case you could still adopt the text amendments. And I do think it is important to adopt the text amendments because that has your Creole language, and it is our recommendation that you have that Creole language in effect by November 29th.
Thank you, Laura. Anybody have any questions for Laura?
Yeah.
How did this all start? Why did they pick townships? I mean, where did it come from? Are a lot of townships not accepting this, and now they're ramming it down our throat and saying, you're not smart enough, we'll do it?
That is one perspective. I mean, certainly the developers, I think, pushed for this. There's no question that the PA 233 was kind of backed by large-scale renewable energy developers that did not want to have to deal with different requirements at each community.
So they went to a congressman, or did they go to the public, a congressman decided we're going to do this?
And it was done kind of, again, I'm not telling you secrets, I say this publicly, it was done kind of at the 11th hour, late at night. I mean, there were rumblings about it. For those who were, you're nodding, and you were paying attention in the fall of 2023. There was talk about it, and then nothing happened, and then suddenly, right there at the end of November, it gets rushed through the legislature and passed.
And it was late at night.
And it was late, it was literally late at night. And now, if I can get further up on my soapbox, now since then, we've spent almost a year working with communities all over the state to develop CREOs that comply with the statute. And now a month before it's scheduled to take effect, the Public Service Commission says, well, we interpret it to mean something different than what the statute says. In what a CREO is, in talking about hybrid facilities and other things. So, I share the sense of skepticism that I think your question
If they're so good and safe, why are so many townships, why did they pass it at the 11th hour? If they're so good and so safe, why do they have to do it so late at night?
I cannot answer that question.
Well, I'm just saying, if it's such a great deal, why did it have to be rammed down the township's throat? What about big cities? Do they have to?
Well, it applies to all zoning authorities. So if a developer wanted to go in and put solar panels on, the roofs of abandoned buildings in a big city, they would have to follow the same rules. So it is not just for townships. This applies to all local zoning, whether that's township, city, village, counties that are zoning otherwise,
So if they're generating electricity, do the township residents get a cheaper rate? That's beautiful. I'd like to meet this person that came up with that idea.
This is stepping back a bigger picture, but it seems like it'd be pretty hard to show that the township is in need of additional energy generation capacity when the township has energy generation, or energy available to it, I guess would be how I would phrase
right,
it.
and we've had in some other communities, people actually figure out how much, would be needed compared to what it would generate, kind of gearing up if there is a demonstrated need argument. Now is not that battle, right? Our battle now is just the Public Service Commission order so that we can scrape back the little bit of local control that the legislature left for us.
What do you think the chances are of that happening?
We think I think the law is very much on our side. First, as I said, the Public Service Commission doesn't get to write or rewrite the law. It is supposed to enforce the law. It says right in there, well, we interpret this narrowly to mean this. Not their job. This was done also as an order, didn't go through the rulemaking rulemaking process. And even if they did have the authority to interpret the law, which they don't, the way they interpret it is not consistent with the legislature's intent.
Well, the other issue too is, for these large scales, they're gonna need 300 acres. Where do we have a 300 acre parcel
Well, it
that's
can be
available?
multiple parcels, it doesn't have to be one
Sure,
parcel.
but, you know, the other issue is that, excuse me, this is board discussion, thank you. That it's estimated that we're gonna lose 350,000 acres of farmland to solar panels, because farmers can make a lot more money doing leases to solar companies, and I don't wanna see that happening in our township.
And the point there, right, farmers do have the choice. Nobody is coming in and taking the land. This is not the state using eminent domain or saying we are forcing you. The landowners still have to voluntarily enter into these lease agreements.
When you're farming and getting a carrot this big every year, and then someone comes in and offers you a carrot this big,
Understood. But still, people get concerned about eminent domain, so I did want to mention that.
So are both of these, items 2 and 3, are both of these time bound? Or is there an expiration date on these, that we have to approve these by a certain point in time?
We recommend the text amendments be approved before
Got it.
November 29th, because that's when the law takes effect.
But they're not mutually exclusive? I can pass one and not the other?
You can pass the text amendments and not pass the overlay. It's a little, because the text amendment refers to the overlay, so we would sort of be counting on the planning commission quickly getting something back up to you before we actually have somebody knocking at the door.
And to that point, to me, it makes sense the planning commission selected these areas. I mean, we could always add to it.
Right, yeah.
I'm for adopting the map and the text amendments, and let, just like anything else, the planning commission, look at it again, you know? They look
Send
at
it back
stuff
to
all the time.
Just the map back to planning and ask for more coverage.
To consider additional
Well,
areas.
take the time to go through it, but at least we've got something as far as a mechanism for protection,
Right.
Right, you've got
In
it on the
place.
books, you can always expand it.
and that was our goal, is to get this done before that.
Right.
So if we
Our
don't-
job is to risk manage this. And in order to do that, that's what we need to do.
So if we don't pass the overlay map, we're at risk then, is that what you're saying?
So let's play it out.
Can
Let's
you,
say a developer.
can you give me some, can you handicap what that risk is?
I went to law school, I didn't take math classes, so we're not going to study numbers and percentages and probability. But let's play out the scenario. Law takes effect November 29th. Let's say you have a text amendment that refers to an overlay, but we don't actually have a map that says where that overlay is. Well, when they come, they being a developer, comes to your door, to say the morning of November 30th, you say, okay, here, the first thing they're going to do is say, do you have a compatible renewable energy ordinance? And we say, yes, here it is. That starts a 30-day clock, so we have some time built in there before, push would really come to shove. And realistically, what we do is say, yes, the planning commission is expanding the overlay, and it's going to be back up to the township board on this date. So I think it's something we could navigate, but I think the technically safer way would be to, if you're okay with what is there, to approve that, and then have the planning commission recommend or consider recommending an expanded overlay that the board could then consider. So that's probably my preference between the two. Yeah.
If one of these go bankrupt, out of business, who's stuck? The state will have to clean it up, or is it the township?
No, not the state. Now, the ordinances provide for decommissioning bonds so that there is financial security for cleanup. So ideally, because of having that provision, we're protected. This is again, though, why that Public Service Commission order is so important, because the Public Service Commission would say you can't require that. You can only require the same noise, height, et cetera, that the state has required, which really means no choice at all. Yet another reason why the appeal is so important. But no, the state is never cleaning it up. Well, never say never, but not likely.
So I guess my point is, we're not required to pass the overlay map tonight. We could improve or expand the overlay map, or,
You can do both of those.
okay.
You can adopt this and expand it still. It is not written in stone.
If I do it after, I mean, the text I get, that's got a drop dead date, right? That I get the text part. But if we don't accept the overlay map tonight, right? And we either send it back to the planning commission or we defer this, to the next board meeting, what risk, and this is where I'm asking you to handicap and you're not gonna do it. I mean, I suspect we don't have investment power folks sitting at the board waiting to come in on November 30th.
That's kind of what you have to gauge, and you guys probably have a sense of that better than I do. I mean, I go to some meetings where the industry folks and their attorneys are sitting at every meeting.
Yeah, sure.
You know, because they're ready to go. Maybe some of you are developers, I don't know, in disguise.
They're seriously not going to raise their hand if they are, just to be clear. But.
So, I mean, it's possible somebody could come in the day after, and then you really don't have, you still have the Creo language, but you don't have an overlay map, and then we've got to kind of hustle to get something.
Well, I guess my point is if that overlay map is passed after those people come in, it's still applicable and they can't, right?
Yes.
I guess my point is, given the fact that we've got an incoming board that's gonna look very different than this one within the next 20 to 30 days, I'm wondering if it makes sense I think the Roberts Rules term for this would be to postpone definitely this item.
Thank you for the correct use of Robert's
Yeah.
but and I just, the only thing I would say is, I think you're still in a slightly better position adopting the overlay now, because nothing binds your incoming board to keeping it. They could not only expand it, they could change where it's located, but at least you'd have something on the books.
I don't see a huge downside to it either, David.
Okay.
I mean, that's just my opinion, but.
There's not a downside.
I call it
Candidly,
safe
I'm
than
just
sorry.
trying,
I get it.
I'm just trying not to make too many decisions that
Once
the
an
other boards are gonna be
application is
responsible for.
submitted,
so,
though,
okay.
that overlay map is the lay of the land,
For that.
as is the ordinance. You can't go in after somebody submits land use application and change the rules.
Well, what we might deal with, if you didn't have an overlay and we had to say, hey, they haven't applied yet, because first you've got this 30 days to get them a Creo. That's where I'm saying there's some time. They don't apply on day one.
Right.
There's some time. But as a practical matter, dealing with developers, if you say, hey, right now we don't have a map, it's at the planning commission, it's coming up, you're not gonna process their application. You're not gonna accept their application until it's up there.
Right.
But again, I think the better course is to have something on the books, that the new board has free rein to change, expand, any of that.
Is this a motion or a resolution?
It's a resolution. Resolution.
I'd make a resolution to adopt both the text and the overlay map, with a request that the map be sent back to the planning commission for consideration of potentially adding additional areas.
I support that. Oh, you got it, Mike? Okay.
Support.
It's been resolved and supported to approve both the map and the text amendments while sending it back to the planning commission.
The overlay map.
The overlay map, to see if it could be possibly expanded. Any further discussion? Madam Clerk, may I have a roll call vote, please?
Yes. Jennifer Eden?
Yes.
Zach Tucker?
Yes.
Kurt Schultz?
Yes.
Mike Cunningham?
Yes.
Herman Ferguson?
Yes.
David Walker?
Yes,
Pam Mockler? Yes.
I think this is.
Cool. So now we not care of 2 and 3. I think this is yours. We move on to item number 4, which is the Jane Hill Waste Special Assessment District refund.
Just excuse me a second.
So while you're fumbling through that, basically we had a special assessment.
He had an accident. It's kind of dry, but not dry enough. His water spill.
Okay.
A little excitement.
Meeting postponed due to flooding. It's more exciting headline.
Mr. Supervisor, do you want me to stick around?
No,
I can, but I don't.
I don't think we have anything on the agenda that would do that. Yeah, we need you for us, so. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I know it's a long drive back, and thank you for coming out.
Laura, are you part of the cleaning service bid?
Yeah.
I'm not.
I appreciate all the work that you did on this and getting us what we wanted, and the discussions that you and I had about the environmental impact studies and putting
We just like
PFAS
a little
regulations in
excitement
there
every
and
now and
making sure that we had cleanup in there, so yes, thank you.
We appreciate it. Happy to continue working with the planning commission and the board on any overlay changes.
I appreciate it, thanks.
Is the appeal court of claims, just because I'm curious?
What's that? It's in the Court of Appeals.
Court of Appeals, so it goes directly?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's actually directly.
Just curious.
Wow.
It was in my letter.
All right, so Jane Hill Waste Special Assessment District, basically we had a special assessment with them for trash collection that has expired. There's still some money left over. We had to wait a year before we could disperse it. We just
You just
approved
did both
both
of
of
them, 2 and 3,
those.
both
Oh,
passed.
okay, yep.
Yeah, yeah. Both passed.
Sorry. Okay.
And the, let's see, how much is that amount going to be?
The resolution amount to be
Refunded.
given back as refunded is $4,378.06.
Gotcha.
And that,
What's the 441.61?
so the subtracting,
Oh, because
after legal
123.
fees and after postage.
Okay.
So that is, the real balance is $4,585,030, or 30 cents,
This
sorry.
is, this is just, this is a refund to the SAD.
Yes.
Because they switch companies.
So there will be 121
No, just collect the change.
residents receiving a refund,
I'm going with that.
around $36.
And then the other budget amendment is,
Well, we're
From
doing the
the general-
resolution first, honey,
okay,
so,
Okay, number 4.
This isn't item number 4, resolution.
Yeah.
yes.
So resolved.
Support.
it's been resolved and supported to do the special assessment refund for Jane Hill. Any further discussion? Madam Clerk, may I have a roll call vote?
Zach Tucker,
Yes.
Kurt Schultz,
Yes.
Jennifer Eden,
Yes?
Mike Cunningham,
Yes.
David Walker,
Yes.
Herman Ferguson,
Yes.
Pam Mockler, yes.
So we have 2 budget amendments, item number 5. One is for the Jane Hill Waste SAD refund and transfer from the general fund to the road fund.
So moved.
Support.
It's been motioned and supported to do the budget amendment for that Jane Hill SAD and the general fund to the road fund. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, that motion carries. Next, item number 6, prepayment of the 2013 sewer bond. Jennifer?
I will speak on that. As for your question, I wish you would have called my office, because I would have had those numbers readily available. I'm calling back this loan, or want the board to give me permission to do it. The amount currently owed is $1.4 million. And the amount of, and I'm asking it to be recalled by March 17th of 2025, because I do have a bond that it is an interest. Right now, the bond interest rates are going down, so the answer to your question, and it will be lower, or they anticipate it to be lower than what we're paying the 3.5 on the bond currently, on the sewer bond.
But ultimately, this will be talking about this on sewer rates.
Yes.
It's going to have a significant, by paying this off, it's going to have a significant decrease to the users of the sewer system,
That is
who've been
correct.
seeing several rate increases over the years.
Yes, that is correct.
Is there anything time sensitive on this? I mean,
Yeah, you have to give adequate notification to the county, like 3 months, in order for it to be called back at a timely
Okay.
manner. She suggested to do it now because with the holidays, then it would be able to be called back by March.
So we'd save a lot of money.
Yes. Yes, I don't have that figure here. You can call me tomorrow and I can get it for you.
But I'm not sure I want to, yeah, let's, Mr. Chairman, I'm going to recommend that on item 6, we postpone definitely this item. A motion, just for clarification, for those of you who don't know Robert's rules, a motion to postpone something definitely means that no action is taken and it becomes the first order of business at the next regularly scheduled meeting of that organization.
Support.
We have motion and support to postpone item number 6.
Postpone definitely, because there's also.
Postpone
You can also
indefinitely.
postpone indefinitely. We want to postpone definitely.
Postpone definitely. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Nay.
Aye, nay.
You have nay, 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 nay,
Nay.
so that does not pass.
And she can't,
Quiet,
oh, shut up, maybe?
if that's what you want, shut up.
Oh, good.
You still have to pass it if you want to do it.
So, I'll
Just to be
entertain a
clear.
motion in support of.
So moved.
Support.
It's been motioned and supported to do the prepayment of the 2013 sewer bond. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed?
No.
Thanks. Item number 7 is the cleaning services bid. So we've got 2 bids for cleaning service here. One is for.
Did you need me to speak on this?
Is-
Yes.
You want to talk about it?
Sure.
So you put them out.
Sure, there's 2 bids. One is for KRW, that their price quote is $220 per cleaning. Our current is Sunset Maintenance, we pay $125 per cleaning. So there's a $95 difference. However, I'd like to mention, you get what you pay for. In just observing some things, our current cleaner, they're going through the building in about an hour and a half to clean all the floors, all of our bathrooms, et cetera, et cetera. It can't be done, and that's why it's not being done. But once again, you get what you pay for. I would recommend to hire KRW. The owner came in, we did walkthrough, she's very thorough, and feels she can do the job for $220 a job.
Get your motion then.
Pam, I got a question.
Yep.
When you say cleaning the floors, there's a big stain right back there in the corner. That's not part of it?
Yes, it's good. No, that is
That's part of
going
the
to
cleaning,
be
cleaning.
at our next board meeting.
Just wondering.
I will be asking to put out a bid for
Okay.
carpet cleaning again like I did last year.
All right.
Yeah.
I know I've seen it
Yeah.
back there.
Yeah,
So,
they vacuum the floors. They don't
Okay.
carpet, they don't clean them. We hire out separate for that.
I make a motion.
No, should have a
She
motion.
may,
Okay, support it.
This looks to me to be a month-to-month, just.
Yes, yes, monthly.
Just a quick question
but
too.
it's 2, that amount is per cleaning.
Right,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
Did they provide us with proof of work comp insurance?
Yeah.
I know you got your
It's-
liability
Yes.
here. Does it say work comp on it?
Yes, it does.
I think you
Yeah.
do.
I think it does, Creed.
All right.
Yes, they do.
It's been motioned and supported to approve the KRW cleaning service bid. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, that motion carries.
See, it said no.
Item number 8, resolution to negotiate the summer tax collections with the schools.
You know, it was
The schools have had us collecting taxes for them ever since I've been here. And we have to negotiate with them every year to do that. It's part of the law, so I'll resolve that we negotiate the summer tax collection with the schools.
Support.
It's been resolved and supported to negotiate the summer tax collection with schools. Any further discussion? Madam Clerk, may I have a roll call vote, please?
Sure, Zach Tucker?
Yes.
Mike Cunningham?
Yes.
Kurt Schultz?
Yes.
David Walker?
Yes.
Jennifer Eden?
Yes.
Vern Ferguson?
Yes.
Pam Opper? Yes.
Next is the sewer rates for 2025. Jennifer?
So, in connection with paying off that sewer bond, the county is not raising the rates as well. If we pay that off, and that was all because of the sale of the 264 RUs, that we were able to pay back the general fund and pay off that note quicker than. So I am, on the sewer rates, I was able to deduct the debt fee per resident, which is $60. So their bills will be going down $60 a quarter. And that's that. So I think we'll make all the residents on the sewer happy.
Absolutely.
Make a motion to approve.
Support. Been motioned and supported to approve the sewer rates for 2025. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, that motion carries. Next is the Board of Review. You know that they meet a couple times a year to go over property tax appeals. Have a really good Board of Review in place. So John Weiss has been on the Board of Review 30-plus years and brings a lot of knowledge, and he's great. And we have Marcia Dix, who's a former real estate agent, and then Kim Veenstra, who's a builder and a real estate agent. So they are well-versed, and they do a great job. They've done all the recent trainings, so I would make a motion to appoint all three of them to the Board of Review.
I'll second.
It's been motioned and seconded to appoint Marcia Dix, John Weiss, and Kim Veenstra to the Board of Review. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? That
No.
motion-
Fire them next month.
Who said that?
And last.
David, did you say yes or no?
It was Herman Dave said no.
Herman Dave said no. Motion carries. Item number 11 is the treasurer's request to attend the MMTA Winter Workshop.
Move approval.
I'll second.
It's been motioned and supported to approve the treasurer's request to attend the MMTA Winter Workshop. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, that motion carries. That's it for new business. We have no miscellaneous business. Public remarks. Scott.
All right, Mr. Warner here for our township. Whose direction does the planning commission work under? Our supervisor. Why the hell did our planning commission bring that to our citizens? Offer to block up those street parcels with a deed restriction? They didn't get, must not have got it from the supervisor, because the supervisor's never here. You're never here, Mike.
You know what,
Since the
Scott?
election, you disappeared. Let me tell you something.
Right.
If a cashier takes money out of the cash register, is that embezzlement? What do you call a man that never comes to work? It's covered by the treasurer and Pam. And you don't say nothing. You did it for 4 years. Somebody put it in the Tri-County Times. Who's responsible, Mr. Attorney? Do we have a lawsuit? Do I have a lawsuit to sue the township over that? I think we might. Yeah. Roll your eyes. This offer was made by the planning commission, and apparently it was either approved or not approved by you. But why? Because you weren't here.
right? Smile all you want, Mr. Tough Guy. This is your last day. You grifted this damn township too damn long. Pam and Jennifer, you sat by and helped. Shut your mouth and you helped. You ought to be ashamed of yourself.
Scott,
No,
sit
you
down.
don't need to talk, it's my turn.
Sit down.
Sit down.
Don't sit there and,
No, it's my
sit.
time.
Sit.
It's my time.
Yeah, but you
Your
need to
time
be,
is up.
you need to
No,
be
I can
respectful to
say,
people.
I can say what I want.
No, you can't.
Listen, Mr. Attorney. There's people down here because it's deer season, my neighbors. I got 3 people on vacation right now.
Address the board,
That
please.
could be here. No, he's our attorney. I don't get to
No,
talk.
he's
This is the
No.
board's attorney,
This
technically.
one neighbor told us about the person that came across the road from this facility. Our planning commission never even went out and inspected this stuff. Our zoning administrator hadn't gone out and inspected. I talked to him. Jennifer, you can sit there and feel sorry for these people. We do care for these people. But you don't seem to have any respect for the people in the township. Even after this gentleman or person left the facility and sat in the neighbor's yard. What if somebody would have got hurt? Do you want that responsibility? We didn't say we didn't want the township. But Mike, you owe this township some money. You grifted long enough. Do me a favor, get a hold of Marcia, put a sign up, and get the hell out of the township, because you grifted your far enough, long enough.
Done.
Oh, boy.
Sorry, I didn't have time.
Anyone else? Being there's none, motion to
No, I
adjourn.
have my hand up.
Go ahead.
Thank you. See, we got through this without you telling me to shut up or anybody else or rolling your eyes. If anyone thinks that the planning commission wrote those ordinances, watch the videos. They didn't write them. They were written by Carlisle Wortman, and then they were finished up by the lawyer. No one ever answered us on why that piece of property was chosen at the top. And what you didn't hear tonight was how much of that property is not usable. How much of it is wetlands, and if you read the county's explanation and their look at it, they are so concerned about that land. And it goes against our master plan, and it's a priority 1 rating of the area of how fragile it is to that whole system. And I know none of you read it. I mean, Pam, you even thought, oh, we haven't even gone over this yet. And that was we just approved it. So, I'm telling you, it was not explained to us. And ask a question, can't get an answer, but I guess it's probably because nobody knows the answer, right? Or maybe a couple people know the answer, but they're just not going to say. David Walker, thank you so much for your service here. Appreciate everything you've done. You stood up for the residents. Thank you, appreciate it. Wish you the best and wish your family the best. Herman, so glad you're going to be back. You're one of the board members that stood up to the bullies in the room. I'm glad you're going to be back. Failures of this current administration, you've done nothing but cause division in this community by refusing to listen to the residents. And even today, in sending an email, would you stop laughing?
Just make your comment, don't let them distract.
Jeez. Even today, when I sent an email to Cunningham, guess what I got? I'm done. His email, his message, out-of-office message says basically that he's gone. Why is he here tonight? If that's what everybody's been receiving, our messages saying he's gone. So then I asked Jennifer and Pam, who's running the show? They won't answer me. Then Pam, I asked her, could we please have people sworn in here tomorrow? I've got a few people that would like to come, my kids, my grandkids, etc. That's okay. I told them not to come. She said it's tradition. We have to do it by her desk. So if I've got 20 people coming that would like their picture with my husband and saying congratulations, they can't come because Pam can't go against tradition. Then the right thing would have been to say, sure, no problem, let's do that. What would it have hurt? And Jennifer, you couldn't even bother to answer the email. So I'll be watching the two of you. And
Time.
just because you don't
Thank you for your
have
comment.
anybody under your thumb
Thank you for your
anymore,
comment.
You should have
Thank you for
stood
your
up to
comment.
him. You should have stood up to him. We should have stood up to him. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, yeah, and you too.
There you go, Mike. You let her comment.
Aren't you gonna tell her to shut up?
Yeah, no,
Go ahead.
she's always been able to do it.
Ed Murray, Jeremy Road, Tyrone Township. I'm very curious on how that property was picked for this solar and all the other stuff for it. There's a live stream that goes through there. You have the Royal Wedding Barn, and they have a lot of water going around it. I don't know how you could pick that property, because it's very mushy down there. So like I say, you have the sunken garden down there, you have the cemetery, and you have the guy that's been trying to sell that property with a paintball course for years. But still, there's a lot of water around there, so why was that picked? Who was behind that to say, this is a perfect spot? To me, it's not. So I hope the county takes a close look at that and make sure we don't have any issues down the road by contaminating water from runoff from these solar panels. And it's great. I spent some money on 4 nice solar spotlights for my driveway, and they haven't been lit in the last couple of days. There hasn't been enough sun to power them up. So good luck with all that. And I would hope that the planning commission would take a second look at that property to make sure it's a good spot to put that solar farm. I don't get it, so hope you take a second look. Thank you.
Thank you. And anyone else? All right, being none, couple of comments before we leave though is, last 15 years the township have been pretty remarkable. We've accomplished some really great things, and I don't want to get into them into detail. But the reason why that happened is we had a really good staff of employees here. People like Terry who know where all the records are, and boy, if I ever needed to find something, Terry was there on the spot. She knew exactly where to get it. And if she didn't, she'd find it one way or another. So thank you, Terry. And also, too, we have a great accountant in Casey, and in planning and zoning, Ross came in and brought some stability to the planning and zoning department as a zoning administrator. And he's very talented. His education allowed him to become our planning and zoning director. He knows that ordinance book inside and out, and he is going to be instrumental in correcting some of the things in there that need to be updated and stuff. So thanks Ross and Carrie and Marion for providing support in that department. Carrie has came from a different background, and she has really blossomed, and she's done an outstanding job for us. And we had Bruce Little as our assessor, he's our contract assessor. He's got tons and tons of knowledge. He's a former township supervisor as well. And, he helped me out a lot getting going here, so I want to thank Bruce for that. And then Alexa coming in and really just bringing the assessing department into a modern era with, all of her digital work and her mapping, and just when she puts the board, we do have border review, all the information and data and how it's put together. It's very professional, and she's extremely well organized, and just another asset to our community and to the township board. And Tammy and Lynn in the cashier's office, and Tammy is a sweetheart, and she kind of looks out for us. And when we have like a potluck or something, she's always on the forefront to make something or bake something. She's a hell of a cook. So, thank you, Tammy, for all that. And to the time with the board, great board. We did a lot of good stuff, and you guys took a lot of undue heat for looking out for our community. Because you guys are residents just like everybody else. That seemed to got lost, it seemed we got lost in the shuffle. So thank you for all the good stuff that you've done and being part of this board. So with that, anybody else have anything that they'd like to add? Then I'll entertain the motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Support.
It's been motioned and supported to adjourn. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 It's the last motion I get to make.
Bye-bye, Felicia.
I would have completely forgotten about it.
You give it to Pam and Mary.
And then,
Chris.
I don't know, I would have been blamed for something.
I saw him back there. Oh, like me, I could not come up.
So the reason I asked that question on work comp is because they have a mark NA on there.
Oh, it's just not.
So I didn't know whether that means they don't have work comp or